For our last installment of the Fantasy Landscape Project Skills, I'm going to make John Cena a little bit ice his arm in this case. You could do it to the whole thing eventually, but I'm just going to make his arm lizard skin. Now you can do this with any sort of texture. You can drop the texture on top. I'm going to do the lizard skin one. So I've got my layer of lizard skin. I come down here and I can do two things. Probably the easiest is Control button, click on the picture of the layer, which selects everything in it, and I can copy and paste it. Now I could have duplicated it, but that's fine. This is just something you guys have used before, so I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a piece big enough that I can cover his arm. High resolution textures are always, the higher the better. You can always shrink it down if you need to. This is actually kind of a low resolution project, so you'll notice it get a little bit grainy when I get close, okay? But I'm doing that really just so it doesn't take forever to download. Okay, so I get this in place of where I want it to be. Notice that I have it behind him. That is going to be important. And I'm going to go to my eraser, and I'm going to get rid of large amounts of excess. I want to have a little bit of a border around him. That's going to be used, okay? But I don't want to have all of this around him. So here, just go in there. Get rid of all this. Cool. Excellent. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to Filter. I'm going to go to Liquefy. Now I've got some stuff turned off. What you're going to see when you first come in is this. Okay. We're going to want to turn on Advanced Mode, and you're going to want to turn on down here at the bottom. You're going to go to Show Backdrop, and what you should now have is you can see there's your lizard skin layer. And you can also choose which layers are visible. In this case, I'm going to have all of them because I don't really have that many. It's not a big deal. And I'm going to zoom in on here. Now, whoops, hold on. There we go. Let's try that. Wrong shortcut. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to use this one, this tool here we used last time where we kind of push stuff. Don't really want that, okay? If I do something I don't like, by the way, you have two options. You can hit Command Z, which is your standard undo. There is also here a reconstruct tool. So it will literally paint things back to where you had them before, which is cool. You can sort of slowly back up if you want to. All right. Now my brush rate was, I think, 80. I don't know if that's the default or if that's just where I had it. I'm going to turn it down to about 58, 60, something like that. And I'm going to go to this tool, this push left tool. So what happens is as I go left, it's going to push stuff down here. And as I go right, it's going to pull it up. Okay. Now the reason I like this one is that using a large fuzzy brush, in fact I'm going to go a little bit larger, what it does is it sort of compresses the texture, and it's compressing it faster in the middle than it is at the edge. So what happens is you can start to see that the texture looks like it's wrapping around, and as it wraps around the edge, it gets finer as it goes away. If I go a little bit too far, I can always just pull a little bit back by going to the right. And this doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to trim off the excess. And as you can see, it leaves a border to show you where you were. A little bit too far. And now, since I'm wrapping around this guy, as I'm going to the right, it's pushing it up. But since I'm below it, that's what I want. There we go. As I said, doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be close. Now, if I was doing him all in lizard skin, I would have to be careful to kind of blend this together, just like we blended him into the horse. I'd blend it all together first. But here we go. I've got it all pretty close and we're good. So I'm going to hit OK. Okay. Now I've got this behind him. So I go to my John Cena layer, Control Command, click on the picture, everything is selected. I go to Select, I go to Inverse. I go back to my arm, my lizard skin layer, and I select everything, or sorry, I erase everything which is outside him now. If we have some pieces like this, if it's a problem, we'll figure it out later. Okay, so I'm going to deselect, Command D, move this up in front of him. And probably one of the easiest things I can do with this is I can just go to my mode and change this to overlay. There are a bunch of different options I can play with, and you can see whichever one works best for you. Okay, it'll probably depend on whether it's what color it is and things like that as well. but that one worked out pretty well for me. So there is your lizard skin texture. Have a good one.